And we're going to get into a couple of faster characters to discuss here, starting with Magilou. Now, unlike the previous characters where we went through and talked about how they had all these different good moves, I'm going to be real about Magilou. She has a couple of really good moves and a lot of fairly suspect moves. But I'll include them all because I think it's important to cover all your options and understand what you can do. So, this first move here, this is going to be pretty difficult without interruptions to casting.
Yeah.
But
I will help with that.
Our first move here is this little just water bubble. As you can see, it goes about mid-range like a lot of other normal projectile moves, but it's not quite as quick as the stuff Velocicet had. Then her second move is the first of what I call her baseboard moves. I don't know what this thing she swings is supposed to be. I'm sure the main game will show it somehow related to mascot characters, but it's really slow. Like, I hit the button and I'm just holding a direction to start walking. It's that long until she starts moving. That is just not viable. And then her third move is another one of those linear pokes. It doesn't go quite as far as you'd like. It's, you know, this little fire bubble move. And then her fourth move is another one of the baseboard moves that's somehow even slower than the first one. I imagine you'll quickly forget it's a move. You will never map that. Then move 5 is all around her best, you know, these linear poke moves. It throws the 3 elements. It has a fair amount of commitment, but it has the most range of all of them, and it seems to do the most damage. So if you're going to try to do a combo with these little linear pokes, I think you could pull it off, and this would definitely be your ender. Move number 6 is all around the best of the baseboard moves. It's still horribly slow, but it hits Earth, which is an element she otherwise can't hit.
At least in the demo.
Yeah, at least in the demo. And it does hit all around her, and even though it is really slow, it's actually less slow than the other baseboard moves, for some reason. I guess they wanted this to be her only melee move. Then, her 7th move changes the tone of things. Well, the first 6 I was talking about how bad they were. The meteors... Oh, I need to give a full row of meteors. Because you can only truly appreciate this move when you do it over and over again. This move is highly spammable. And it's fast, it's high damage, it chains into everything effectively, it has more range than all of her other pokes. It does hit this water element, so if they resist water like these flowers, that's kind of a downside, but against most enemies, I see no reason to use any of her physical moves other than this. And this actually can prove pretty devastating. But to move beyond baseboards and linear pokes and broken meteors, let's talk about some spells. She has 4 different offensive spells, which is more than any other character, though only 3 of them are really worth using. This first one casts really quickly, and it's just this little water arrow poke. It actually does surprisingly high damage for what it is, so if you're just kind of running away with her and wanting to eat away at the enemy's health, this will do a really good job, or if you want to chain into magic from afar, this can be a good starter.
I'm pretty sure that was, I don't know what they called it, but it was the second move on the chain. Yeah, Water Armatus. I think it was left on the Water Armatus in the second chain. It was the same move. I think it's called like Aqua Arrow.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't really create any hit stun for you, but if you just want the damage and the chaining, that's what you have. I really like the second move here. I think it's your general purpose spell with Magilou because it just creates this splash effect under the enemy. It's very similar to that first spell that Velocicet had. I think it's a little better. It holds the enemy a little longer. And you can easily do stuff like rain meteors and just follow into this to do your basic combos with her. Then spell 7 is going to end the battle, so it goes to spell 8. Spell 8 is this trap move. It just puts this little trap down. If it's on top of the enemy when you use it, it blows up right away. Otherwise, it blows up when something moves into it or after an amount of time. It doesn't really hit that hard. If you're chaining into it from close range, it's far less impressive than anything else you can do. And at long range, I don't really see there being reliable setups to get the enemy into it. I don't think in practice you will ever use that spell. And then spell 7, which I cut off earlier, has a really long cast time. You have to nearly max out the chaining to make it practical in combo situations. But it's explosion. It does that. It does unreasonable amounts of damage. So if you just want to kill stuff and your party's taking care of you and keeping the enemies occupied, that's the spell you go to. And could we work our way toward the casting boss?
That is.
Because I'm near the end of Magilou, and that boss is necessary to show the rest of what she does.
I mean, there are other enemies that cast, but she's going that boss is going to be the one that just shows how they can be. It's very niche. It's very niche soul burst, but within its niche, it does an incredible thing.
Yeah. But before we quite get to that, she does have a healing move. It's just run into the fight. It's Healing Circle, which kind of like most Tales games, it's not the healing move that's going to inspire you. It, has this kind of slow cast. It heals about as much as First Aid. That area of effect isn't really that good, but it's a move. Healing is a nice option to have, and she can do it. So when you aren't needing to do offense, she can do defense. And when it comes to how I set her up, honestly, like, you can set up a fairly competent combo with her just using these odd-numbered moves, just your various linear pokes. Probably ending in meteors. But to be honest, you're better off just starting and ending and in the middle using meteors and not bothering with these pokes and just mapping more spells. So that's what I'm actually going to do. But that other path does have some viability. But what we were talking about in this fight with her Soul Burst, so before I unpause, what her Soul Burst does is it will pull off any casting states that any enemies are in. It just pulls them out of it, and then she will cast a spell based on the amount of power she's drained by using her Soul Burst. If you're stealing multiple casts from enemies at a time every time you use it, it quickly becomes overwhelming. And of course, the meteors are usually pretty efficient at stealing soul and locking stuff down, so you can kind of throw the meteors out to build meter, or use Mystic Arts for that matter. You kind of wait until stuff's casting, you steal it, and you get late game Armatus from Berseria level spells. And this boss has no answer to this character at all. Now that Flare Tornado move is important to bring up because as far as I can tell, she just kind of randomly picks between the various moves, and this Flare Tornado move hits right on top of her as opposed to where the enemy is, which can be a pretty big downside. But yeah, and just the raw hit effect of these moves.
Look at that
Gravity Well, the best one of them.
Yeah, her version of Gravity Well is totally ridiculous. It's like a quarter of the arena and just takes out and gets done and sucks everything into it.
Yeah, but as you can see, I'm just pretty much waiting for the enemy to cast, stealing what they're doing, and wrecking the boss with it. This type of boss was one of the most threatening types in other Tales games, and it's just free here. Oh, I'm out of soul.
You could always just switch characters.
Yeah. Or I could do this.
That too.
And a fun mechanic in this game, when you have 3 blasts, you can Mystic Art, and using a Mystic Art gives you 5 soul instantly. And since Magilou is, in these sort of fights, is just kind of spamming her burst. Oh, that was unfortunate. I mistimed that. Oh, don't run away from me. And the boss is dead. And that's basically Magilou. I foresee this character not being one of your bread and butter characters because with what she has now, she can really only hit water effectively, and her burst is clearly hyper-focused around enemies casting. But the couple good things she can do are very powerful. So when she's in her niche, she can really shine. We can hope in the extra move she'll get in the final game will help her branch out a little more, but for now, with what we're seeing in the demo, that's Magilou.